Much better than the first time.
All right. Time is now 6 p.m. and I'll call to order the McMinnville Fire District Board of Directors regular meeting on September 28th at 6 p.m. Chief, roll call of directors.
Director Sparrow. Here. Treasurer Trapp. Here. Secretary Pratt. Here. Vice President Smith. Here. President Garden.
Here. And I'll call on retiring Fire Chief to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Another one of those. I get tears.
All right. Following any changes to the agenda? Hearing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda, which we have the meetings from our September 14th. Or minutes from our September 14th meeting. Anybody like to pull anything off the consent agenda or the motion to approve as presented?
I have a correction on the minutes because I was via Zoom at the meeting as well.
Okay. Anything else you see, Mr. Sparrow?
So the times that are listed in the parentheses, I take it that's the recording.
Yes,
Times from the.
that's correct.
Right, that's correct. Because that switches back and forth. So. Good.
Any other amendments to the minutes from anybody else on the board? All right, here none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
Make a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
The motion on the table by Director Sparrow. Any second?
Second.
Is that you, Rich?
Yes.
Oh, Jeff. And we have a second by Treasurer Trapp. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay. Motion passed unanimously, 5-0. Brings us to public comment. Now is the time for anybody in the audience or on Zoom. If you're on Zoom, raise your hand and Assistant Chief Hannafin will call on you to speak, but your testimony is limited to 3 minutes. So now, do we have any comment cards from the audience? No? Anybody on Zoom? All right. Last call for public comment before we go to tones. All right, hearing none, we will now close public comment. That brings us to our business action required part of the agenda, which is first up is approval of board policies 24 through 26 and board policy 28. Chief, you want to brief us on board policy 24?
Board policy 24 is budget process. And while some board handbooks have the budget process in and some just refer to budget law, I added the budget process in the handbook because it's streamlined, narrowed, and puts everything in one place and you don't have to bounce around to find the information. So that's why the budget process was brought forward in the board policy. And it basically outlines the ORS and puts it in a single page so you can follow the timelines and requirements as required to set up a budget process.
All right.
It is one that was recommended by SDAO for that purpose specifically.
And looks like some of it might be editable, but most of it's driven by OS.
Correct. There are modifications, for example, on the upcoming budget year. There was a minimum time frame to appoint the budget committee. But I would suggest you do that earlier in the year because you're gonna have the full budget process, which will be your first time. So it'll get you more time to get the budget committee up in pocket and selected, go through that process before you start your actual budgeting process.
Any discussion on board policy 24 or any amendments?
I guess more of a question for you, who typically is the budget officer that's appointed by the board? Is it someone from the board or?
No,
It's usually fire.
the administrator, the CEO of the organization is the budget officer.
Got it.
If the district grew to a point that it had like an administrative chief or a CFO type person, would they be the budget?
Then there'd be given the structure we have currently, it would be the chief.
Yeah.
Okay.
But even the city manager is the budget officer.
Any other questions, Treasurer Kraft?
Not at this point.
How about you, Ray?
No, makes sense. Say that nicely.
Let's see. For any concerns?
Nope.
Let's see. All right, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adopt board policy 24 as presented.
I'd move to adopt board policy 24 budgeting process.
All right, we got a motion by Secretary Pratt and a second by
I'll second it.
Vice President Smith. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed, nay. Board policy 24 passes 5-0 as presented. That takes us to board policy 25, board code of conduct. Any brief thoughts on that, Chief?
This is a draft, not draft, this is a policy that basically outlines in bullets the behavior of the board. And traditionally, in most policies, there's probably someone's name on each of these policies somewhere historically in special districts. But that's just how these things occur, and it all refers to out of chapter 9 of the number 9, the ORS 244, where these bullets are pulled from or recommendations come from through SBL.
I just add that this is a document that we can modify year to year, and as we do annual retreats and things like that, if there's things we want to modify or add or subtract from there, it's similar to councils having working agreements or code of conduct is another thing for that, but typically in an annual retreat, just to like revisit this and make sure it's current. Sometimes I think else throughout the year that we want to address as a board that we can put in this document. I think for a off the cuff rough draft, it
Starting point.
gets the meat and potatoes out of the way. Any other thoughts on board policy 25?
No question as far as updating in the future, is that just a simple resolution then?
Yeah, so
Okay.
that would be us as a board. If you have concerns with it, you can bring it up to myself or Vice President Smith, and then we could get it on the agenda as an agenda item, or we could, and city-wise, we always revisit it at our council retreat every year, where we spend a day together and go over goals for the upcoming year. And action items we want to hold ourselves accountable to.
Okay.
Questions?
No question.
Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for board policy 25, board code of conduct.
I'll make a motion to approve board policy 25, board code of conduct.
All right, motion on the table by Treasurer Trav,
A second then.
the second by Secretary Pratt. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Board policy 25 passes 5-0. Board policy 26, health and safety.
Just kind of giving the board a board statement that acknowledges the importance of safety in the organization and holds the chief and the safety officer and the department accountable in the last paragraph for ensuring that we meet all the OSHA required guidelines. It's the board's stance on the safety for the organization for the policy level. Our own policies and OSHA guidelines require the safety committees and the safety officer and the infection control officer and all those types of things. This is just the board's saying we value this. It's important to us as an organization.
And are these elements in place now?
Those elements are in place.
Yes. I missed what you said, Vice President.
I actually want to know if they were in place currently.
Okay. And who holds that position? Safety officer.
So the safety officer is Chief Law, the infection control officer is Chief Hannafin.
Okay.
I'm the fire chief, so and the safety committee, we tie into the city safety committee, or we did tie into the city safety committee, as well as having our own safety committee with all of the minutes and requirements.
There's no pending issues with OSHA?
I don't believe so at this time, no. No. I'm not gonna say anything because I don't want to bring any inspections on us. The last OSHA inspection, the last OSHA inspection we had was several years ago, and it's probably coming up in the queue of things. And I believe we had a bandsaw downstairs that had a cord that was out of it was some minor issues, nothing significant. All of our PPE, SCBA's, all of the things that were good.
Thank you for letting us know that.
And was that like a full inspection, or was that like one of their pre-inspection?
So it was a full on, we're gonna come out and visit you. Here we come.
Yeah. Any other questions around health and safety? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adopt board policy 26, health and safety as presented.
I'll make a motion that we adopt board policy 26, health and safety as presented.
Motion by Vice President Smith,
Second.
and a second by Director Sparrow. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. What's board policy 27?
Board policy 27 was the purchasing authority
Oh, that we did.
that you already approved.
Yeah.
That was one that was in the original draft documents, was not in the original draft documents, so I put it at the end of the documents, and this one was not in the original draft documents. So this is one that was also not in that original package you were given to look at 3 months ago. This one came specifically from SDAO as a recommended for the board packet, and it was not in that original draft that we had, package that we had. So that's where this board member development and training one comes from. And obviously, we talked a little bit about the ethics training requirements that are coming down the pipe that are going to be modified due to statutory requirements. That this would probably be changed to reflect that, or the other one that we talked about, the ethics one, could be changed to reflect that also. Either one of those could be amended once the time frame for the legislative changes start. And these are guidelines. If you want to require more, if you want to require less, some districts say, if you don't go to enough of these, then you're harming the district, and they take some action. I wasn't prepared to go anywhere near that right at this point with a new district starting. So I just thought I would go off of the base recommendations from special districts. But there are other ways to go about it if the board were to choose to do so in the future. Specifically the once a year training for SDAO.
Yeah, that can be achieved too at their annual retreat.
That's correct. That's correct. Yeah, you could pick that. In my opinion, the OFDDA conference has SDAO presenters, the SDAO one-off classes, or the SDAO meetings that are the annual SDAO conference. All of that would qualify for that.
That work for everybody, or do we want to add or subtract?
I'm fine with what their recommendations are. I don't know if throwing in minimum requirements. I think that maybe there has to be something in there. If you're saying it's a requirement, what happens if you don't meet, right? I mean, or it could be minimum recommendations, or you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Basically, if we're gonna have the word requirement on there, you also want to have the cause and
Back that up. Yeah.
Was that something that you guys want to think about and put a pin in that policy for now? Or
You can do that, take a deeper dive at it.
does that work for everybody?
Yeah, sure. Table.
Yeah, so it'll be like middle to end of October, because the first meeting in October is all hiring chief process.
So the board's aware, we have, Vicky's in there, 4 more policies coming down the pipe. 5, 4 to 6. Special districts outside of their policy manual recommendation, in their risk management side of the house, they have a task book, a checklist. And the policy manual is what I was focusing on for the board items. In the risk management side, there are some policies that are policy manuals for the district that are at the board level. For example, harassment policy, a lot of them are HR functions that are in the risk management side of the house. The district will have a policy within the organization about harassment and about all the different HR issues that we have to worry about. But we will also have to have a board policy supporting the policy for the district. So Vicky is going to be working on preparing those and bringing those with Chief Hannafin forward. And those will be the final parts of this policy manual. This takes care of all of the working business parts of the policy. The HR components and the risk management side are the ones that Vicky and Chief Hannafin will be working on to bring forward to you.
Okay.
So it's about, you have still a few more policies. I tried to get through all the policies before I moved on. And this would be the last one, but there are more coming down the pipe. So to put it off is not going to be a big deal to close out that manual and get it wrapped up at the end.
Sounds good. Where's good table on board policy 28?
Are you looking for just a recommendation, language around the requirement versus recommendation, or
recommendation for like cause and effective?
you want staff to come up with some options, some suggestions on if you don't, then?
Yeah, what other districts do?
Okay,
Board members aren't meeting.
I'm saying sure, but I'm then looking over the person who's gonna do the work.
All right.
So the next one does not have a staff report. I apologize, but it was one of those ones that, after speaking with the attorney, he suggested we just do a resolution for the action that you took last week, 2 weeks ago, appointing Chief Hannafin. As the chief. So you can just read the resolution and pass it. Basically, the action you already took. He just felt it would be cleaner if there was a resolution confirming that, rather than just a word action motion to do that.
That's item C. Item B is the fire chief hiring
Oh,
process.
I'm sorry, I jumped across.
Vice President Smith and I and the task force got through the application this week, and so they're being reached out to, and we'll have our panel interviews 2 weeks from today. Make sure you're available all day, and the schedule should be emailed out to us here in the coming week or so.
I may have missed it. How many applicants are going on to interview?
The panel interviews will have 6, and then coming out of panel interviews, we want to get that down to 2 or 3. That'll be doing the meet and greet that evening, as well as doing the final interview with the board on Friday. Yeah, thanks for spending the day.
Yeah, it's good.
Any other questions about where we're at in the process right now?
Pretty easy to pick it from 9 to 6 or?
It's, just a lot of reading and making sure that we're understanding where each applicant was at. And, we built a scoring rubric, so just was able to do it in an unbiased fashion and just look at the data in front of us. So took a lot of time to go through each application and make sure that we made the right decision.
Cover letter, resume, and application were all included.
Yeah, so definitely some people that have been around the fire service a long time. So,
Would you just review the process that we have scheduled for the 12th, the 3 panels?
3 panels: community panel, public safety panel, employee panel. Employee panel is 2 volunteers, 2 union members, 2 admin members. Public safety panel is and community panel is different partnership and community leaders that I've identified from around the area that we interact with, and it's important that we have their opinion on who they're going to be interacting with forward facing.
Yeah.
So examples of that would be like the CEO of the hospital, superintendent of the school district, Chemeketa EMS supervisor, program supervisor, people like that.
Nice.
So, any other questions? All right. So now on to item C, which is resolution 23-10, and appointing Amy in as interim fire chief for the McMinnville Fire District. And as fire chief was saying, this just memorializes our decision at the last meeting. It's more of a formality that was recommended by our attorney. Any other thoughts on that, chief?
Nope.
All right, so you have to read that by title only, right?
You can just read the resolution. Done. Yeah. Make the motion off the resolution title.
All right, so entertain a motion for resolution number 2023-10.
I'll make a motion that we approve resolution number 2023-10, a resolution appointing Amy Hannafin as interim fire chief for the McMinnville Fire District.
In a second,
Second.
I have a motion by Vice President Smith and a second by Secretary Pratt. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Takes us to item D, consider second reading of ordinance number 23-1. This is again the housekeeping ordinance that we're voting on a second time. because public didn't register the first time. So, Chief, any other thoughts on that?
No other thoughts. And this one, we published both the first and the second time, just to make sure. So, good to go.
Is this one, do you have to read by
This
title?
one you can, if consensus allows, you could just read by title.
Everybody okay with them reading it by title only?
This would be a motion to approve ordinance 23-1 in its second reading and establishing an effective date. An ordinance prohibiting career and volunteer firefighters and other district employees and volunteers from serving as district.
All right, any conversation? Well, entertain a motion for ordinance number 23-1.
Make a motion to approve ordinance 23-1 in its second reading and establishing an effective date. An ordinance prohibiting career and volunteer firefighters and other district employees, volunteers from serving as district director.
Second,
I'll second.
the motion by Director Sparrow, second by Treasurer Trapp. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. That brings us to item E, ordinance number 23-2.
We give it by title also? Okay. Ordinance 23-2, an ordinance to allow the McMinnville Fire District to adopt cost-based fees and rates for provided services and allow for future board amendments of fees and rates by resolution.
All right. In the memo there's a recommendation in bold print. Somebody would like to make a motion for ordinance 23-2.
Make a motion to approve ordinance number 2 in its second reading and establishing a date and ordinance to allow the McMinnville Fire District to adopt fees and rates for district provided services and allowing for future board amendments of rates by resolution.
All those in favor signify, second.
Second.
Motion by Director Sparrow, second by Director Pratt. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. That brings us to item F, which is resolution 23-11, the resolution establishing participation in Oregon PERS.
This resolution is crafted by PERS, so the resolution you see in front of you reads a little bit differently than some of our normal resolutions. This resolution is designed, this will be one component of our participating in the PERS program as a district. It also will go, this resolution, in addition to the list of current PERS employees, which are all the employees of the district, paid employees of the district, as well as the IGA that is being reviewed by the attorney as we speak from the city, which talks about the transition of the city employees to the district and transitions them into the PERS program. All three items will go to PERS. This is the resolution portion of that, letting PERS know that the district wants to be. You don't have to be a PERS employer if you don't want to. If you can provide something equal to or better. I would not even suggest even trying to look into that, given that PERS is out there and available. There are three areas in here that are options that have been selected because we were going down the road of keeping everyone on the same type of PERS program as they transition from the city. We didn't want to change any of the methodology. One of those is the district paying the 6% for the employee. You have the option of going employee pay or employer pay. It was employer pay and we kept it employer pay. And that's how our budget is built to go that route. The other option is to for the district to either be independent. That's not the term they use, but that's the term I'm going to use because it sticks in my head. I can't remember the right word. There are two options. Okay, or part of the group, the group pool. You're part of the pool, or you're an independent. If you're an independent, you're at a much higher risk, especially if you have a lower number of employees. Because if one employee in a younger public safety role retires, the amount of that retirement is now fully incumbent upon the district to pay for the life of the employee receiving that, or spouse if it goes out further. And so, one young, person in their mid-50s, retires, and it significantly would change the rates of the district. Whereas if you're in the group absorbs it as a whole, and your rates are more stable and easier to finance, to budget and manage. So, recommend that we go with the group plan. We talked with PERS, they recommended that we go with the group plan. The finance director recommended we go with the group plan, so that I put the group plan in this policy. I want to make sure that I'm giving the things that we had the selections on. And we also went with the unused sick leave counting towards tier 1 and 2. Now, you don't have to do that, but that's what we had, so that's what we left in the resolution. Those were the 3 choices we had in this resolution to move the district forward.
Question. Was this match language that's included in the contract, the CBA? Is there any, was it reviewed?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so there's no conflict
Yep.
between this language?
Employee pays 6%, employer pays 6%. Yes, correct.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions?
The union's all good with this?
It matches their current CBA.
Yeah.
That was vice president.
Yeah, we made it match the current CBA, and
Thank you for clarifying that.
Hearing none, I entertain a motion to approve resolution 23-11, a resolution establishing participation in the Oregon PERS Public Employee Retirement System.
I'd move that we approve the resolution 23-11, a resolution establishing participation in the Oregon PERS, the Public Employee Retirement System.
Got a motion on the table by Secretary Pratt, a second.
Second.
Second by Vice President Smith. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Goes to our other business of the evening. First, we have Treasurer Draft. Any update on LoSAP? None, okay. And then second up, we have Director Sparrow with the branding committee.
Yeah, we had our first meeting. Had 6 participants there, got quite a bit discussed. We had some questions initially on kind of the scope that the branding committee was taking on, and got that answered, so we'll get that out to the rest of the committee members and let them know. And then we've got another meeting scheduled October 18th. We wanted it to not conflict with the chief's hiring process, so kind of got pushed out a little bit, but working on getting a new logo picked out and designed, and figuring out kind of what we want to go with as far as, you know, full shield, Maltese cross, half shield sort of deal. So good progress, good discussion. Anything else to add to that?
No.
All right. That takes us to item B, which is board information reports. Any information from any board directors? Hearing none, I'll take us to department reports, and first up is local 3099.
I did also, I'll speak for the volunteers because I did reach out to President Goodman today, and he just wanted a reminder out there of the pancake feed October 8th and looking for help. So I don't know who's got the strongest wrist out of the 5 of you, but whoever can flip the best. There might be some sort of prize out there. I don't know. I'm speaking on his behalf. He'll get you something though, I'm sure. So we don't have a lot for this meeting. I just wanted to take the opportunity, since it's the last meeting, to thank Chief Lightford Thanks for calling 52-year-old retirees for young in the PERS thing. After the crew I worked with today, I really appreciate that because I was feeling kind of old today. But no, over I don't know if you know, I think I was your first hire.
Pretty close.
I mean, I don't know if I was number one on the list, but I was in the first group.
No one else wants.
So we've been together for a while, basically from the beginning, and you know, I really appreciate the ups and downs and everything in between. And you know, through it all, we've still been able to talk and meet and not holding the animosity. And I really appreciate everything that we've been through over these years. So enjoy your time away. I'll be there in 10 years when I'm a young 52-year-old, I guess.
Yeah, see what I mean? Thanks, thank you, Don. I appreciate that.
All right, that takes us to fire chief's report.
I did want to brief on the IGA. We did receive a draft IGA from the city. There wasn't anything significantly challenging or questionable in it, but there's a lot of legal language. So the attorney Truman and Vicky and Chief Hannafin are going to be working through it, making sure that I've looked at it. It meets the intent of everything that I was working on the up to this point. With the transfer of the assets and the debts and the employees, I will be available if there's questions on why we recommend or don't recommend some of the things that are in there. If there's any questions when that comes to the board, just so you understand the background on Chief Hannafin has been involved from day one. But if you want me here, I'd be happy to come in and help supplement her testimony on some of those things once it gets to the board for approval. I would expect it probably not, you probably won't see it before the hiring, the 12th. Well, you won't because you're not at the meeting. I would expect it, hopefully it would be ready for the meeting after that for your review so that we can get the PERS stuff taken off the plate and get the organization PERS and move forward. We received some really good news. Donna has been like a dog with a bone, and I don't mean that in a bad way, I mean that in a good way, with our LGIP account. And the group that we have to deal with on the East Coast was amazingly annoying. But she did it. She got the account open. We are now able to receive tax payments from the county, and we are able to receive the transfer of the over $1 million from the rural district into the LGIP account of the district. And then we will slide some money into the bank account to keep it open. But we want to keep the majority of it in the investment account as long as we can. And for right now, the revenues and the loan on the other side, this was not a part of the loan. This was never intended to be a part of the loan. That process is separate as far as that goes. So you will have some money in the bank. Part of that was the money we committed to the rural district about future improvements that impact the rural district. So that should be transferring over. Steve was the retiring or dissolving president would have been wanting that money out of his account for the last since day one, and he was pretty excited when Donna called him and told him. So that's good news. That puts us at the position now where we can get our own revenues in the door, do what we're doing. The other thing that that occurred this week that was good news was we finally got the final DOR approval for the final maps that were in conflict with the tax accountant maps in the district. So that has been taken care of, and taxing Derek over at the tax assessor's office is making sure that everything jives appropriately. But I think there were like 5 minor modifications that they have all been corrected by the surveyors. And I promised the crew that we got a long couple of days ahead of us. I wouldn't go on too much more, but I want to thank everyone for your time and your commitment to the organization. I'm really excited about this district getting to this point. I'm really proud of the work that the team did to get us here. And I appreciate all of your support through this process. It's been an amazing board for the first 3 months. You have worked hard. You've been there prior to the election. as a board, once you were elected and in pocket, and have worked extremely well together and have been very easy to work with, and appreciate your grace in us working through the process of learning how to do this whole thing that we haven't done before. So thank you for everything that you've done and everything that you will do. And I'm really excited to see how this department grows in the future. And I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Anything else from any other chiefs in the room?
Chief Hannafin has an announcement to make.
Thank you. Just one thing, as part of the transition with Chief Lightford being done with us in the next few days, we would like to make an appointment as an interim ops chief, and Chief Law has agreed to take that opportunity on. So I'll be making that appointment pretty quickly, so that we can keep some of the continuity of the operations flowing as I transition more of my efforts towards the business.
Thank you.
Good.
Congratulations, Chief Law. All right, that takes us to correspondence. Informational items. I was gonna mention the pancake feed, but you and President already did that, but I think, you could be as involved as you want to be, so you don't have the whole day, morning to give to that. I mean, I still think just coming down and thanking voters for voting yes on this district and shaking hands and kissing babies and petting dogs is a good thing to do. So, be nice to see everybody show up at least for a small bit of time, but if you got time to volunteer and flip some pancakes, cook some eggs, I'm sure they would love the help. Outside of that, just wanna thank Chief for everything he did, all those ESCI meetings and all the different chief personalities that we dealt with over the last 5 years. And the different council meetings you were in and the different counselors that you interacted with. It was definitely a journey, so thank you for that, and thank you for getting us to this point.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
I'd like to just add, thank you for your years of service to the community. Wish you all the best in retirement.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I would like to follow up with one comment, since you are all now public officials. We will probably be getting some complaints about the air show. If you feel free to refer them to YCOM, because they have a direct link to a complaint line. That way you won't have to. If anybody that has anything to do with the air show in any public way, shape or form will probably get some sort of a, I can't believe you should do something. Well, here's the number. So that way, give you an easy out.
I did also chat with our IT director, Scott Burke, briefly. You should be getting reached out to relatively soon to test out your laptops. I'll probably do 1 or 2 initially and make sure they go well, and then get them the rest of the way out. And then he's also been shopping for a website, and I think he's narrowed it down to one with Donna and other staff on one to demo and just make sure that it's going to work for what we want. And then we'll get away in on that a little bit. So, but that'll all take place, after we get through the chief's process. So, other than that, if there's nothing else informational, I'll adjourn the meeting. So our next meeting will be executive session Thursday, October 12th, 2023 at 5 p.m. And that'll be pursuant to, I don't know the RS off the top of my head.
That's fine. I don't have it in front of me.
Hiring a public official.
Correct.
So I will adjourn tonight's meeting at 6:44 p.m.
Yep.